Hey, good morning, everyone. Wherever you're listening from in Nigeria, Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, welcome to a business paper review with me, Kalu Aja. We do this every Monday, every week, just to get you guys up to speed with what's going on in the business papers, get you all situated for the week ahead, right? So let's get right into it. Last week, the GDP figures for quarter three 2022 were released for Nigeria. I would say it's a very tepid report. The main headlines that you should know is that GDP was essentially flat, right? For quarter three, the Nigerian economy grew by 2.25%. That's on a year basis. Not really a lot when you compare it even to the third quarter of 2021, which was about 4%, right? So the economy is really slowing down, or about 2.25. Remember, this is before the floods. This is quarter three, right? And the population growth in Nigeria is about 3%. So already we're growing slower than the population, and we haven't even hit the quarter four where we're going to have the effect of that flood coming. That's going to show really a devastation in terms of trade and the economy. So headline is that the economy grew, but grew at 2.25%, which is lower than population. So really, really not a good thing. What's the other main headline? It's the constant drop in oil production. The Nigerian economy, the Nigerian budget is predicated on drilling oil and selling oil, right? So as we are right now, we do not have enough oil production going out via the pumps. Quarter three, we are posting a very, very low figure of give or take about 1.20 billion barrels per day. Just for context for you, right? In 2020, quarter one, Nigeria was doing about 2 million barrels a day. That figure has fallen from 2020. Today, we're at about 1.20. That's 1.2 million barrels per day. So really, really, we're struggling. It's even better than what we were doing in the past due to the oil theft, but still, we're not yet hitting 2 million barrels per day. We are actually gone down from 1.7 to 1.6, 1.5, 1.4, 1.4. Now we're at 1.2 as of quarter three, 2022. But again, this does not capture the fact that NNPC has said that the pipelines are now pumping more crude oil and that they've arrested most of the steps. So we haven't gotten those new figures in. This is still quarter three, 2022. So as at that date, the oil production figures were very, very anemic and falling. What's the last data point on that GDP report? We look at where the growth is coming from, right? And again, I posted this on my Twitter feed, so if you can just go in there, you can see the actual numbers and the infographics. But the Twitter feed just showed that Nigeria's growth is coming from the non-oil sector. Literally, the oil sector has been in a recession since, say, 2019. The oil sector in Nigeria has been negative, literally negative. So the growth that you're hearing about, the 2.2 you're hearing about, is really from the non-oil sector. By way of numbers, the non-oil sector is contributing about 94% to Nigeria's GDP in terms of the growth, 94%. And where is that growth coming from? It's coming from ICT, that's the telecom folks, right? And of course from trade. These are the two big boys that are basically growing. ICT and trade. Nigeria's a trading economy, right? That's what we are. So when trade doesn't do so well, as it's not hasn't done in some quarters, the effect really, really shows. When agriculture does not do well, the effect really shows. But when we grow some sectors that are very, very small, like financial and insurance is very, very small in Nigeria, road transport also very, very small. We might grow those sectors, but because their size is not as big, it doesn't really contribute that much to growth. We have to grow agriculture, trade, and services, i.e. ICT, for there to be a noticeable change or noticeable growth in the GDP. So those three numbers really, or those three data points, the growth, oil and non-oil, the oil production, and of course the top headline figure, that just really encapsulates the quarter three 2022 GDP report. The summary: Nigeria is not growing faster than population, which is going to be a big problem for whoever takes over the government in 2023. You've got to grow this economy at least 6%. That way you have spare capacity to fit the population and, of course, have excess for growth. We have to grow faster than population. Okay, guys, that done. Let's move into the other gist that we have. We have the Central Bank of Nigeria. Did you guys see that tweet where the Central Bank of Nigeria is essentially saying that if you look at the oil, the inflow that is flowing into the Central Bank of Nigeria, the dollar inflow, the central bank governor, Godwin Emefiele, is basically saying that that oil inflow is essentially only coming from the non-oil side. So essentially, Nigeria is exporting crude oil, but there is no dollar remittances flowing from that crude oil back to Nigeria. Why? PMS subsidy, guys. All the dollar revenues that Nigeria is making from even the sale of this 1.2 million barrels a day that we pointed out is going to pay PMS subsidy. So in effect, Nigeria is technically at the moment not an oil exporting nation. We are exporting it, but we don't get any oil. So that's really crazy. I mean, if you think about what the CBN governor is telling us, that as it stands right now, that Nigeria is not essentially making any revenues from crude oil sales. And I'm not just quoting, just to be clear. The official foreign exchange receipt from crude oil sales into our official reserves has dried up from 3 billion monthly in 2014 to an absolute $0 today. Today, of course, being the 25th day of November 2022. So from 3 billion a month in 2014 to zero now. That is crazy, guys. So that just shows you what's going on in Nigeria. What is the implication of this statement? That Naira isn't going anywhere, guys. Forget all that thing you are seeing in the foreign market when Naira is gaining value. It's a mirage. That is the Central Bank of Nigeria spending from their reserves to prop up the Naira. If the central bank is telling you that the Naira or the official reserves are not receiving crude oil inflows, and we know that Nigeria, basically the Naira is a derivative of crude oil. If crude oil prices go up, the Naira goes up because we exchange crude oil revenues for Naira and spend. So if we're not getting any crude oil revenues, what is the CBN doing? It's printing Naira. That's what the central bank is printing, about 20 trillion Naira to cover the shortfall in dollar receipts. So basic economics say that when you print or you oversupply something, what happens to the price? The price crashes. That's what the Naira is crashing. We've printed 22 or so trillion, but we do not have any dollars to back up that printed Naira. This is different from the debt. This is just the raw printing that the CBN is doing to back up the federal government of Nigeria's balance sheet. So that is pushing the dollar rate down, i.e. pushing the dollar, making it stronger and the Naira weaker. And of course, this lack of exports of crude oil is also killing Nigeria. What is saving Nigeria right now is remittances. And I believe that the CBN has to do something to attract more remittances. Otherwise, it's all over, guys. If we don't get remittances in here, it's all over. Remittances are coming in, but they're not going to the Central Bank of Nigeria. What that means is that when you send money home through your DOM account to your friends and families, you don't give it to the banks or the central bank. You give it to your own bank, you give it to your friend, you do P2P, you transfer crypto, but it's not going to the Central Bank of Nigeria. So Central Bank only has 38 billion, about 4 to 6 months of imports, but that's not enough for the largest economy in Africa, which is Nigeria. So the bulk of those DOM accounts is sitting in Nigerian banks. 20 billion minimum is in Nigerian banks, but it's for individuals. It's not for the government. The central bank has got to do something to attract that money from the DOM accounts to the central banks. And that word is the D word, devaluation. When you devalue the Naira, then of course you are attracting that money to go from the vaults to the central bank. I'm not saying they will, I'm just saying they can only defend or devalue. They have to make up their mind. And like I said before, the real Naira policy, this change of Naira color, will come after January. This change of Naira is not the real policy. It's just a precursor to the real policy. So by February, we'll really see what CBN wants to do. They're going to devalue. They've already told us that they're going to restrict the amount of Naira that they're going to pump out there. So if you restrict Naira going out, you are trying to soak up. It's like monetary soaking up of currency to try to push the Naira value up. But it's not going to work because you still need dollars. You can't import with naira. You still need dollars. Can you fight inflation by restricting printing of naira? I don't think so, because you can still pay with your checks, you can still pay with POS. So you don't need cash to create inflation. Demand will be met by checks, by POS, by all that, not really by the cash. So I'm not sure what they're doing, but it is what it is. The other story we have is fuel subsidy. The government is saying, or should we say the IPMAN, the Independent Petroleum Marketers, they are saying that the fuel scarcity is going to persist till Christmas. Why is there fuel scarcity? According to what they are saying, the big ships that bring in petroleum, the PMS to Nigeria, they are too big to berth in Nigeria's port. So they berth on the high seas. Then the smaller ships go to the big ships, transload the PMS, and bring it to the ports in Nigeria. The problem is that diesel price has gone up in price by almost 100%. So the cost of moving those ships from the ports, right, to the big ships out in the ocean and bringing them back to the port has also gone up. So because it's gone up, NNPC is the only one doing this, right? So no one else can do it. So it's unprofitable. So maybe NNPC doesn't have the money to pay this increased cost, because it's not the subsidy now. We've already heard it's taking away all the forex. So right now, there's no money to pay this increase in the price of diesel, which is used to power the ships that bring the PMS from the high seas to the local ports. That's what's going on. So unless we allocate more money, or NNPC can allocate more money to cover this cost of diesel. Remember, diesel is already deregulated. PMS is the one they are subsidizing. So they might be saying, wow, if we cover this diesel cost, we're not going to get paid, because the federal government has said they've devalued or they've deregulated diesel. They only cover PMS, they don't cover diesel. So back and forth, that's really why you have the subsidy. I'm not sure why they're saying to be over by Christmas. Unless there's a supply, we'll see. But that ties us into the story about the next story about Chevron, Venezuela, and the US. The US has allowed Chevron to drill for more oil, or to pump more oil from Venezuela. The idea is that they want to cap Russian prices, and the way you want to cap prices is to increase supply. So they want to make sure that Russians can sell higher than a certain price. Russians have said, if you do that, we're going to restrict supply. So this is the US way to increase supply in the markets, to reduce the effect of the Russian threat to stop supply. What this means, guys, is that oil prices might start to trend down, because we've seen that if Venezuela increases supply into the market, that increases supply, that trends down prices. If you watch oil prices last week, it's starting to go down. It's because of China, but also because of this news, right? But let's just keep watching it. China right now is in a flux. They are rioting over COVID. Let's see if that's going to affect their economy. But for now, it's in a flux, and it's just a tie into that. Other story we have here, guys, is this story about the Abuja train. The Abuja train is going to be back, they say, today. What have they done differently to secure the Abuja train? I read on the report that they've installed cameras and trackers. I'm not sure what they're tracking. Are they tracking the train? They didn't kidnap the train. They kidnapped the people in the train. So I'm not sure what the cameras or the trackers are going to do. But I think it just shows that it's good news, right? The trains are going to be back. Those trains were built with borrowed funds, and we borrowed in dollars from China to build that train. So even though we have a big moratorium to pay that debt back, every day that train does not run is every day we've lost revenues. We've already lost revenues on that train, right? So that it's back is very, very good news. It allows them to have some semblance. But there just has got to be more safety on that train. If it means us putting gun ships at the beginning and the end of that train, do it. Helicopter gun. Every day I see helicopters bought. Where are the damn things when you need them? You know, you have to escort the ship, the train from Abuja to Kaduna, which itself is a different topic. Please do it. But we need confidence to flow back into that route. Kaduna is the state with the highest number of security agencies in Nigeria. NDA, NMS, the Third Armored Brigades in Jos. You've got the division there, right there in Kaduna. You've got the Air Force Base. You've even going to be a Navy stuff over there. Defense, everything is in Kaduna. Abuja is the seat of the government. How can a train not run safely from Abuja to Kaduna is beyond me. But again, like I said, different topic, guys. All right, guys, so this is just 15 minutes. I want to stop at 15. I was speeding, right? Just to get through all the stories. And there are lots of stories we haven't touched. The summary is a GDP report. not so good. Fuel subsidy scarcity is still there. And also the story about the CBN governor saying that we are making no revenues from the exports of crude oil. That is really unbelievable statement. I saw that statement and Nigerians don't really understand what he's saying. This guy is just telling us that there's trouble ahead. Guys, let me tell you now. Okay, let me just tell you now. This economy is on life support. It's on life support till February. They are waiting for who would win. By February, the real SHI would hit the fan. If so, the central bank governor is telling you there's no money. Take it like that. All right, let me guess who wants to speak. Abba Boy, what's up with you? Go ahead, sir. Abba Boy, you can unmute. Yeah, go ahead. What's happening?
Morning, Carlos.
Hey, hi, what's happening?
I love your analysis.
Thank you so much, sir.
Came into listening. So where is the money going and the privatization of NMPC? I would really like you to explain what it means. As in, like now, we don't get any revenue from oil, and I want to know where our oil money is going to. Then, what's the essence of the privatization, and why is it not giving any revenue to our reserve?
Yeah, good question.
Thank you.
So very quickly, right? So NNPC was, should we say, privatized, like you said, made a limited liability company. But the subsidy arrangement, NNPC manages the subsidy for the federation. So what has happened is that the NNPC still has the mandate to run the subsidy till I think it's June 2023. That's what the budget is saying, that by June 2023 there will be no more funds for the subsidy. So what that means is that any money that the NNPC sells, when they sell crude oil, the money goes to JP Morgan, right? It goes to JP Morgan, CBN, NNPC. That money is what the NNPC is using to pay for the PMS import into Nigeria. So there's an under recovery, because if oil prices are high, then NNPC needs more dollars to pay for those PMS import. That's where the money is going to. So if you notice, CBN governor is not saying that there's no revenues. He's saying there are revenues, but it's not being remitted from the oil side. So we're getting revenues from the non-oil, but oil is done by NNPC, and NNPC is paying for the subsidy. So the privatization is still ongoing, but NNPC is the only entity right now importing PMS into Nigeria because the price is fixed. So you have an under recovery, meaning that if your selling price is higher than that fixed price, that's what's going on really. So let's see what's going to happen. I think by February, you start to see a sense of if they will even keep on paying. I think all the candidates have said they will stop subsidy, just haven't said when, but that's what's going to happen. Ababa, you want to give a quick report? Yeah.
I would like to ask another question because your analysis, I got afraid at a point. Do you mean if you have some huge sum of money that you should go and change it to?
I can't. I don't give advice. I don't give advice. I don't give advice. I'm simply reading what the central bank governor has said. He has said that the forex revenues remittance into Nigeria is zero. That's what he has said. So if he's saying that, that means that the pressure on the naira exchange will keep on going up, because the naira is a derivative of crude oil sales. That's essentially what it means. So if you're not making any money from crude oil, the naira will still be under pressure. That's just what it means. All right, Ababoy. Let me get Osa.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Osaze sent. Oh my God. Osaze_N. You've got the floor, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Kalu, I've always followed your analysis. Thank you very much for having me on here. So I feel personally, when I saw the news yesterday coming from the CBN, its governor, I felt a little bit broken. But I also thought that I think this particular, like you said, February, our shock absorber, we have just like say 2-3 months thereabouts before we know the effects of whatever this means right now. It will take a while. But I feel with the emergence of the two, or I think they said by December, we should have Port Harcourt refinery should be ready. I don't know what the output is going to be. Dangote refinery should be ready next year. And I think those states, I can't remember the name of that one too, but that's just, I think, about 10,000 barrels per day. So it's not a lot, I feel that we should just prepare for the worst. At the same time, there is hope, because in as much as we do not have so much money to keep buying, to keep paying for subsidy, and they're about to take off the entire subsidy funds away from the marketers and all that. The fact that we are likely to have our own internal refined products ready for distribution in Nigeria might just be that stroke of genius we have been looking for, because I have always been on the school of thought that we should have stopped subsidizing fuel right from when we had that cry back in 2012. We would have been able to recover from that a long time ago. Yes, we were conned by the APC, or we didn't have enough information. Rather, let us say the PDP didn't do enough in explaining why they had to remove the subsidy back in 2012. You know, if they had done that, we would have understood why it should have been taken off. Because if you remember properly, in 2015, after President Buhari took office, that was pretty much the very first thing they did too. They also saw that subsidy was not logical.
I hear you.
I feel that,
Yeah, good point. I just want to stop so because other people want to speak. I hear you. Your track is correct. But look at the only thing I'll say this, right? You're right that...
I would like if I make comments so you respond to both of them. They're kind of related.
Let me respond to him, then you can make yours. Don't worry. So the point is, right, I agree with what you're saying, that there's going to be, or already now, remember what I said at the intro, that we're only talking quarter three. Quarter three is where the problem is, right? Quarter four, the NNPC has said that the production has gone up in quarter four. And we know that oil output has also gone up also in quarter four. So there's some good news waiting in the wings. We also hear Dangote, like you said, is going to be starting in 2023. The problem is this. The real kicker is the price of international crude, not the refinery in Nigeria. The price of the international crude is the critical point in this equation. Even if we have all the refineries working, the crude oil is still going to be priced at dollar rate. They've said Dangote will buy. They've said Dangote would buy crude in naira. What that means is there's going to be a loss of dollar revenues. But let's assume we make no loss. Dangote refinery will not substantially change the price of crude of the PMS in Nigeria, because it's only going to take away shipping. He's only going to take away shipping. He's going to take the crude oil, refine it, and then produce that PMS and diesel for Nigeria. So it's just the shipping that's going to go away. The real cost is the cost of international crude. So Nigeria has to say, are we all going to be okay taking away the revenues from crude and having cheap PMS? That's going to be a political decision. Just that's the point, right? And if we say we're okay with it, I think we should be okay with it. I don't want the subsidy to go. I think the subsidy should be graduated. The poor and the transportation sector should not pay the international price of crude. There should be a subsidy. But what is happening right now is that subsidy is going for everybody, including the rich. You can't have it that way. So remove the subsidy for the rich. It's very simple. If you have a Jeep or any car above, say, 1.5 kVA engine or is it 1.5 liter engine, no subsidy. If you have, just had it in the UK, if you have below whatever engine, you get a subsidy. You have eNaira, you have NIN, you can link the NIN to your car, and you can say every poor person in quote gets 5,000 naira subsidy a month. Transporters get 10,000 subsidy a month, so they can drive that car to the station and buy gas with that eNaira attached to the BVN attached to their car. You can do that, but the Dangote refinery will not change the price of PMS or the pump substantially, because all he's doing is removing the shipping cost that you would take the crude oil to the Netherlands and bring it back. So, Sajay, you have a follow-up?
Okay, yes, sure, right. I love the direction in which you went to on how we could use the sizing of your cars, breaking the rich and the poor, depending on your vehicle, that makes a lot of sense. But I think it's one step at a time.
Sure.
We get there. I mean, we cannot start planning for things that hasn't started happening yet.
Sure.
Even though we should, but we have to get there first. But what I'm saying is why I believe that the subsidy itself has to go is that we already know our consumer markets. We have a huge consumer market right here, right? And the dependence, I mean, you said yourself, look at the cost of moving ships from our ports to the depot, to the open sea to go and pick up. We know diesel has gone up. We do not know what end. We don't see the end in sight for what's going on in Ukraine, and it is affecting us right now. Even though, do you understand? It is actually affecting us because the price of diesel itself has gone up. Now, if you now imagine removing the cost of this diesel, from the products, our landing cost will be less. Our marketers, we are actively paying our marketers every single dime. Every single dime we have is marketers in naira. We are paying our marketers in dollars. So if we have a Dangote at the end of the day, remember, we do not even have to look for dollars to pay Dangote anymore. We will use the same naira to pay him. So the dependence on dollar.
Yeah, but it's double count, it's double count because if Dangote receive naira, correct. If you receive naira, you've lost the dollars. If you receive dollars, then you subsidize more. So it's double counting. You can eat a cake and have it, right? Dangote pays in, yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that the price will come down, but what you are eliminating is the inefficiency of the government and the shipping. That's what you're eliminating. So this huge Dangote will save the nation is going to happen, but he's not going to save. It's going to really be a reduction in the prices, but not as much as people are saying. That's just what I'm trying to get to. But I agree with you. It's way better. It's way better. I don't mind subsidizing a Dangote in Nigeria. I don't mind it at all. It's way better than subsidizing the Netherlands refinery. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So at the end of the day, trust might have light.
The point is this, Osaze, and I want to make sure that the issue is not this. The issue is that there is no money. There is no, let's continue the subsidy. There is no money. Half year 2022, the Nigerian Federation cannot service its debt with all the revenue. All. So there is no, should we remove subsidy or should we not remove subsidy? Right now, that's why the central bank is printing 20 trillion because there's no more money. So they are printing money just to pay salaries. The president would have to say, should I keep on printing money or should I stop subsidy? That's going to be his call. Beyond my pay grade. Thanks, Osaze. We'll go to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, you kind of answered some of the questions. So it was a good advice. It was a good idea to respond. Thank you for your contribution. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
So my like on the microeconomic level, like I wanted to ask, like what would be like following like your conversations from the third quarter and all these permutations that we're doing now, like also like the impact on the economic level, like the day-to-day people who sell on the streets, because something it's just like the COVID-19 period, there was not much information around what the impact was going to be on like the micro level. Like I think those governance meetings couldn't comprehend in totality what the impact was. So like at this time, which is very dire, like so what do you think will be the impact on the
I get you. I will say. Go ahead.
Secondly, this is election period, yeah, and there's something we know about our politicians is distrust. Like sometimes all these things they say, you know that they could be wrong, they could be false, it could be just some election just making. Like this conversation around these refineries, what is coming up, like this is really hard sometimes. You just know that this things may not be true. And in that event, because this is election like this. So
you're gonna go straight to can you go straight to the question just so we can move on?
Yeah. So in that event, yeah, what then becomes of before these things point out not to be false actually at the end of the day.
Okay, so real quick, right? Right now, the big risk or the big boulder in front of us in doing any strategy is the elections. Right now, your entire economic strategy is based on who is going to win in February. That's really it. We have three candidates. The alphabetical order, Atiku wants to make Nigeria work better. So he wants to retain the same mixed economy. but will make it work better. So he will remove subsidies, he will make productivity work. So just the same way what we're doing right now, but he wants to make it better. That's Atiku. But Tinubu is coming on the left side. He's saying we're going to do what's called modern monetary theory. He's going to print a lot of naira to stimulate consumption, and that consumption will create employment and will then eradicate poverty and recreate an economy from the base level. So he's saying we're going to go into deficit and debt to create consumption and employment that will then drive the economy to growth. Peter Obi is saying we are going to essentially do the opposite. We are going to cut down on spending. We're going to empower the private sector to create the jobs. That will then allow that growth to then create productivity, which will then make Nigeria lower cost, produce in-house, and then become competitive. So 3 different models. You really cannot say what will happen till you know who wins in February. That's the thing. Whoever wins in February has something that they are going to do. All 3 candidates or all 4 will have to stop the subsidy or reduce the cost of that subsidy because they just simply have no money. What about taxation? What about the energy policy? All this will depend on what they want to do. Most of them are saying things now that when they get into office, they cannot do because the economy will simply stare them in the face. You cannot print money. You cannot print naira without dollar inflow. You are simply going to cause inflation. Neither can you simply grow the economy without taxation. So they would have to marry and come from where they are to the center. All 3 of them, Atiku, Tinubu, and Peter Obi. It's a lot of work. But let me just say this, and I say this all the time. What Nigeria is missing is confidence, business confidence, not exactly policies, but business confidence. If you get the right guy in office in February, remittances will flow in. If remittances flow in, naira gains value, inflation starts to wind down. So it's very essential that you address the top of the ticket. That top of the ticket is going to drive the economy, the macro and the micro. If you put the wrong top of the ticket, the macro and the micro will suffer before they reach the line. That's what I was saying, Rich. Let me get, I've got Adeyemi. Adeyemi, hi, how you doing? Go for it.
Hi, good morning.
How you doing, sir?
So, thank you for having me. So, I'm just going to ask a straight question. So, in one word, you are saying should Dangote refinery start working, we might be getting PMS easier, but at the same price, if not even more expensive. So, I'm going to ask, should Dangote refinery start working? Maybe this guy would find like can do something of sorts, like making him go one to the refiner in Nigeria, something like that.
Oh, you've had asked a very, very good question. This is the point I'm trying to make. The problem with Nigeria is not the subsidy. It is the fixing of the retail prices. Once you fix the retail prices, then you have under recovery or over recovery. We have passed the Industry Act. It should mean that there should be free entry and free exit. So someone like me, for instance, could export coke. And when I go to Netherlands, instead of asking them to pay me in naira, in dollars, I say, hey, give me a shipload of PMS. I bring my shipload of PMS back to Nigeria and sell it and make a higher margin. I can only do this if there is a free entry and exit, and I can set my own prices. So when you pass the PIA, the issue is not the refinery in Nigeria, but at what price can I sell? If I can sell my PMS at any price, it doesn't matter where I refine it. I would find my way to reduce the cost. You get the point? But in Nigeria, only if you say you must sell fuel at 50 naira, then you have on the recovery. Then Dangote can then go to the government and say, oh, NNPC already owns 20% of Dangote. Hence, I want a subsidy. Maybe I shouldn't pay import duty or I shouldn't pay this. This is the point. It's not the refinery that's going to reduce the cost of PMS. It is the price, because the price attracts supply into Nigeria. All the refinery will do in Nigeria is eliminate shipping. So you don't have to ship your fuel, your crude oil back and forth. You don't have to insure your vessels. But crude oil is still priced in dollars. Let's assume the price in naira. The Dangote will buy it in naira, right? price to be refined and sell? Is it going to be at 10 kobo? It's not. He still has to pay for refinement. So at what price is he going to do? Is it going to be higher than that fixed price or lower? Is the price open for anybody? So the Julius Berger, for instance, would say, okay, when we would give us crude oil, then Berger will take that crude oil to Germany and refine at their own price. Let them sell at their own price. When you have more supply, the price goes down. It's not the refining that's going to reduce the price. It is the entry, the free entry and the exit of players. That's how economics works.
Yeah, thank you.
Very welcome, bro. Babatunde will put on the floor. So Babatunde at the jaw. What's up, sir?
Yeah,
How you doing?
Yeah, very well. You spoke about something that was on my mind, which is confidence. We need FDIs and consumer investment to also push in what the dance is doing so that Naira can now be freely space. But along that line, what do you think can be done, considering the fact that CBN tried to incentivize people to pass their remittance through them? It didn't work.
Yeah.
What would be your own thought?
There are only two ways you do this. Only two ways. You defend or you devalue. When the CBN is paying people cash, right, to inflow dollars, what they are doing, they are devaluing the Naira. Because they are saying the official rate is 446, right? They are going to pay you 20 Naira. Meaning they made the official rate 480. That's what they've done. It's a devaluation. But it's a devaluation because they want to attract dollars. If you want dollars to come to Nigeria, you have to devalue. There is no other way around it. No other way. You have to devalue. So the guys in Houston, China, and London will then see an incentive to take their dollars out of the bank account and send to Nigeria. If it's at 446, why would they do that? If you put $1 in a bank in America, you get about less than 1%. Maybe like 0.30, 0.20 if you put your money in the US. Same thing in the UK. UK is even worse. Japan is maybe negative. You pay the bank to keep the money for you. But in Nigeria, you get as much as 8.5 if you buy a bond. If you do a money market fund, you get as much as 4% per dollar. But why would they take the risk to take that money out of the bank in Nigeria in America to Nigeria? The premium is still not much. But if you devalue, then you are giving them an incentive. They can take that money into Nigeria, change to Naira, and buy an asset or a commodity. Then it makes sense for them. If you keep it at 446, you're wasting your time. Again, look at the P2P volume in Nigeria. It's more than what CBN is getting. Why? Because at P2P, you sell at your own price. So the only way CBN does this is if they devalue. I'm not asking they devalue. I am simply saying this is how economics works. It's either you defend the currency or you devalue it. There's no middle way. You can do bit of two, but you have to do one of them. Right? You simply can't say, be patriotic, send us $2. It doesn't work that way.
Okay, I get that. On subsidy, just I would rather go because again, we've been through this part of and speaking to your facing of it. I whenever we went through that to Shopee, all the promises that Shopee was supposed to do for us, cushioning in transportation and all of that, all those costs they are going to be. So for me, we just try to manage our problems. If we see what to do, fixing or all sorts of things, everything must just go. Let's have that things that you and I can validate, not what we can validate, and nobody subsidizing consumption.
Thank you, sir. And the truth is that we can't afford it. I mean, when we had PTF, the Petroleum Trust Fund, we were doing subsidy on $3, $5 barrel, $15 barrel of crude oil, right? And look at what we did. Everyone saw PTF. You didn't have to like Abacha, but we all saw PTF. Right now, it's not a question of if we should do Shopee or buy buses. We can't afford it. It has got to the level that we can't afford subsidy anymore. So it's an easy call. They've made it difficult. They've made it too complicated. It's to say we can't afford it. End of story. If you can't afford DSTV, what do you do? Do you subsidize DSTV? No, you switch the damn TV off. We can no longer afford subsidies. Sorry, guys, we tried, we failed. Let's move on. But let's get the real Agbaya. Really Agbaya, what's up? So go ahead, you got a problem. How you doing? Thank you, sir.
Just like somebody has sort of that and the guys already in a lot of sectors. So I that is going to be a problem going forward. But you already explained it. If they implement the PID well properly the way it should be, then it won't be a problem because it's going to be so far. But if it's still going to be like that would take other sectors of the economy, then I think that will still have a problem.
Yeah, I mean, let me wear my conspiratorial hat and just tell you, it's already a monopoly, and Dangote has already won. Remember that before Dangote refinery, Nigeria had give or take about 30 or so refinery licenses issued, but nobody built a refinery. Why? Because no one would invest if you don't control selling prices. No one would invest in any, not just crude oil, anything, right? But Dangote is there to invest because he knows that somehow, we would have to come back to him. If you look at the 4 refineries, can you explain to me, like a 4-year-old, how in 7 years Nigeria cannot get any of the 4 refineries to work at the period of time? Exactly. And that tells me where I'm going to, right? The refineries don't work, but Dangote refinery is going to be built. And once Dangote refinery is built, NNPC has already bought 20% in Dangote refinery by taking a loan on forward sales of crude oil. So understand what I'm telling you. NNPC has sold crude oil into the future to a party, and they're going to take the money from that crude oil from that party and invest in a private refinery owned by Dangote. Right? Why? Because NNPC can't maintain their 4 refineries. So you want to ask yourself, what the heck is going on here? How can a nation like Nigeria not retain 4 refineries? If you can't maintain it, why not sell it and allow 4 other players to come to the market and then compete with Dangote? So it's been set up like a monopoly, and it's going to be a monopoly. Sorry, that's what's going to happen. The only way you can avoid it being a monopoly is the next person says free entry, free exit of the product. As long as you meet the quality standards set by the DPR, then you, or whatever the new name of regulatory is, then you can bring it in and bring it out. Otherwise, the way it's set up, if Dangote says it's going to sell 10 naira lower than what NNPC is selling, we'll all go to Dangote, right? Because it's a natural monopoly. He's built the largest refinery or second largest in the entire world, and it's in Sub-Saharan Africa, and it's gotten the NNPC to invest 20%. We're going to compete with the NNPC. NNPC has now bought the Owando distribution. So in essence, you have a Dangote Owando setup. How do you compete with them? How? So, bro, it's a monopoly. Just let's go with it. I don't mind it. Like I said, I don't mind subsidizing Dangote if we get lower, cheaper cost of PMS, diesel, kerosene, so the economy can grow. I don't mind if it's a monopoly. The problem with Dangote's monopoly is that the costs don't come down. I've made this point over and over. You can't have the largest cement plant, you can't have the largest fertilizer plant, and your costs don't come down locally. That's my only problem with Dangote. Monopoly, I don't care. Let the prices come down.
The last just Dangote is just going to be the guy that regulates the prices, and it's already put towards the other sectors that it controls that it must go up. So I think that this is Nigeria is going to be hard on. That's still my feeling.
I mean, it's.
I hope I will be wrong.
The thing is, like, if I was a billionaire, I would have allowed Dangote alone build his refinery. I would have, the same way that, listen, Dangote, if you are old enough, Dangote was just an importer of sugar and rice. There were people richer than Dangote. And when they passed that cement policy, those guys were abusing the government. They didn't go to build cement factories. Dangote went and started building cement factories. Remember that there was no Dangote owned no cement factories, but there was WAPCO, there was Ashaka, there was North Nigeria, there was BCC. They were still down on our beating government. Dangote was building cement factories. Then he became a producer of scale. Once you have scale, you have won. That's what were they doing? Same with these refineries. What were they want to do with Dangote refinery? Now Dangote is the largest exporter in Nigeria by urea fertilizer, the largest in Nigeria. Urea fertilizer is Nigeria's largest non-oil export. So he's worked that guy up. He's worked up cement. He's worked up everything he goes to, right? We can hate him. But what were we doing when he was building this up? Let me get Green in here. We'll do Green out and we'll do Mr. Daniel and then my guy will continue. Green, Mr. Green, you got the floor, sir.
Well, sir, question regarding the recent discovery of crude oil discovery
Go ahead, sir. Sorry, don't mind me.
around the northeast side of Nigeria, some between Bauchi and
I hear you. Go ahead.
that will affect
Oh my
or
God.
will it have any impact?
Oh my
That's
God.
just what I want
You know, you are looking for my trouble. I stayed in from that topic. You want to pull me in so that they will kill me on Twitter. Okay, let me give you
No, sir.
let me give you the bad news. All that stuff is what we call, and quote me. I know people are listening here, quote me. It's what we call political oil. Political oil. Let's assume that they are correct. And there's 1 billion barrels of crude oil in Bauchi State. So what? So what? When will that oil leave the ground? We've already seen that the oil we have today is at 1.7. The one we can see, the one we know that Shell and Co are doing is at 1.7. When will the one from Bauchi leave the ground? Where will it leave the ground and go to? Will they take it from Bauchi to Netherlands? Who will they pass through? Why do you think Shell, all the international oil companies have sold their onshore in Nigeria? Exxon, Shell, they've all sold. The crude oil in Nigeria is coming from offshore. The guys that invested in Nigeria onshore, the Tolu are all shouting and complaining that if you sell or pump crude oil, it gets stolen. So let's assume that they are calling that there's 1 billion. So I made the tweet that we are building people's hopes up. And I hope people understand when you build people's hopes up and you don't deliver, it is worse when you didn't even build their hopes up. They've sold this story like Bauchi is going to be Dubai. It's wrong. If anything, Bauchi is only going to get 13% of whatever is found in that place. That's number one. Number two, the time to get that crude oil to market is so long that it can't affect the price of exchange of dollars in the next medium term. It can't, because you simply can't export crude oil today and get money tomorrow. A lot has got to be done on that field. So that's number two. And number three, if not for the Ukraine war, crude oil today would have no international financing going towards it. The European International Bank had already said no more funding for oil and gas. Go back to before Ukraine war. Vice President Osibanjo went to Dubai where they had a conference to complain to the Europeans that you are saying you don't want to fund gas. You are putting us in a big security peril because gas is supposed to be clean and provide jobs. If you take away that gas funding, what happens to Nigeria? Osibanjo was screaming. They were ignoring him. It's Ukraine that is making them come back to oil. What happens when they make peace with Russia? Will they still do this oil financing? So again, I don't want to they'll say I'm being pessimistic, but guys, if there was 1 billion barrels of crude oil in Bauchi, I assure you, Shell and others would have seen it. I know I've entered trouble by saying this, but it has to be said. Let me get Daniel in here. Daniel, hi, what's up?
I'm fine. Good morning, Mr. Carlo. Yeah, before I make my submission, it's very important, and I hope people took notice how you use the cement story to explain the advantage. Because but we must be able to that this man takes risks and it takes risks on a very large scale. When an industry is not very attractive, it seems that it's in the head and chairs where other people are. And we say, with this refinery that is building in the market of actually very attractive. But he has taken that risk and he has also taken very, very large scale. So he's combining the first mover advantage with the economies of scale. And when you combine those two, it's going to be very hard for people to catch up. Now, but I also want to remind you that BOA is also building a 200,000 barrel per day refinery in Akwa Ibom. I think that will be ready by 2025 or so. But like you said, Dangote is still going to be the biggest player and it's going to dictate what's going to happen in the market. It's not just falling on his laps. It takes that and it takes on a very large scale. So what I actually wanted to say is that you is still very important. And that is without improving confidence, we cannot actually start to improve. And to improve that confidence, there should be less uncertainty in our markets and improving stability. We've also established that it's either we defend. What the truth of the matter is this: even if we wanted to defend, I don't actually think we can defend because the market will always win. We also established that the P2P market is actually a larger market, and that P2P market exposes our official market as our naira over there, and the people that want to bring in money with fees, and that will also discourage them if we wanted to value. But when you also look at the P2P market, you see that it's a very high speculative content in the way our naira swings just based on rumor. So that means sometimes it's also tied to certain fundamentals. So what I actually wanted to ask is, will manage to be the solution where you set the floor and you set the ceiling and you allow the market to somehow dictate what is going to happen, and maybe with that you can improve where you can improve discourage arbitrage.
No. I hear you. I hear you. See, Daniel, people managed growth, of course, is the only way because we can't defend 100%. Neither can we defend 100%. So we're always going to do a managed growth. The problem is this: at what price is this managed growth? And people that want to inflow dollars, right, will ignore profit for safety if the rate is not okay. Right now, the rate in the CBN is 4.66. The rate in the market is about maybe let's say 7.50. That's too wide a gap. If it was maybe 6.50, many people would ignore 7.50 just for safety. So if a corporate abroad wants to send money, it can take 6.50 and say, ignore the 7.50 boys. It's just too risky. I want to have my capital importation certificate and get it at 6.50, and that would happen. But at 4.66, it's simply too low. What I mean is this: if I want to invest in Nigerian bond and I bring in $1 billion, $1 billion, I get 4.66 million naira. But if I do the exact same thing and I bring it in through P2P, I get 750 million naira. The disadvantage for me with 750 is that to take it out, I cannot play the CBN FX forward market. But I bring in 750. I can do what Julius Berger is doing. I can buy cashew nut and export and get my dollars back. So as long as that gap is too much, it will not encourage people to go to CBN. So CBN has to close that gap. It closes that gap by encouraging export, or it devalues. You can't close that gap by threatening, by doing all this action. You are wasting your time. In the past, you could, but now Nigerians have options. You see what they've done? They stopped Aboki FX, they stopped transfer, they stopped IMTO. What did people do? They went to P2P. Can they stop P2P? No. Can you stop crypto? No. Can you stop me bringing 500 naira into my pocket to Nigeria? No. Nigerians have options. There's something called the internet. You can go online on your phone and you can trade in Forex on the international market without going through CBN. So CBN is wasting its time. They have to have a real appraisal and say, okay, let's have two markets. Our oil market, we will sell at around 4.66. But this import-export market, you guys can sell at whatever price you have. Make it for remittances. Say remittances, people can bring me their dollars at whatever price they want to bring it in. Is their money happy? Bring it in and sell. Do you know something like dollar rate? The dollar rate will crash. Why will it crash? Because there will be an oversupply of dollars to that market. When dollars go into that market, the price will fall. Markets are funny. If you stop people changing dollars, the price goes up. If you tell people any price you want, sell, the price will come down. CBN is still not understanding this market. They are smarter than me, but they are doing like they're not smarter than me. You have to allow people to bring in dollars in and out. Once people know they can bring dollars in and out, the price will crash. It will not go up, it will crash. Let's get lifted in here. Lifted, what's up with you? Cool, lifted, what's happening?
All right. My question is in regards to the Dangote project, yeah, and also about what upcoming one. So, what would be the fate of the national refineries in the forthcoming government? Because at the end of the day, if these two giants, the probably who comes up to take monopoly of the their own refineries, so does it mean the national refineries are completely dead and gone?
I mean, you have to, yeah, the answer is yes. Look at what NNPC themselves have told you that they're dead and gone because they've invested 20% in the refinery. Those refineries are scrap. What I mean, they are scrap. They were built a long time ago. They haven't been maintained. So it is cheaper. If you have the money and you build a newer refinery now, you are going to produce crude at a class lower price. So if I was an investor, I will repair those old refineries. I will scrap them and build brand new refineries on that exact same price. It's cheaper and I can do my operations at a lower cost. So the problem is that they are simply had them for too long. When were they built? When were those refineries built? Remember, we don't maintain. We don't build on maintenance. We don't maintain these things. So they are scrap, right? And that's why they're building brand new ones. Dangote tried to buy those old ones, remember? Dangote and Kotedla tried to buy the refineries. We said no. Went and built it. So I would say, I mean, if I was the next president, I would sell them. I would even try to fix them. Sell them to whoever wants to buy them. If you buy them, you get the crude allocation, all well and good. But I wouldn't spend a kobo on those refineries anymore. It's a car. If you have a car, 1970s, you keep on servicing that car, or you go buy a Tesla. You have to call your loss man, right? And then take your losses when you see them. We're just going to wind down real quick. Danjuma, what's up, man? Hey, Danjuma, what's happening? Danjuma, you can unmute and speak. All right, let's.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah,
I can hear you. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so you spoke a while ago that the federal government, that Nigeria is broke and that we don't have the dollar and that the government is printing
20 trillion.
At what point did it start? When the biggest economy in 2014, what did we have then? Did we have all of this? Yet we're biggest economy big problems that we need to solve. Thank you.
Yeah, good question. So in 2014, Nigeria was the largest economy in Africa. But what else did we have? We had macroeconomic stability. We had a lady called Conjo that came to Nigeria and established. Look at the history and look at we had the lowest and most consistent period of single-digit inflation rate in Nigeria at that time. We had macroeconomic stability that allowed foreign portfolio, not direct, foreign portfolio investments to flow into Nigeria. If you go back to your real history, that was when you had your bank cards. You could spend as much as $100,000 on your Nigerian issued bank cards. That was when Nigerians were coming back from abroad to Nigeria to take up jobs in Nigeria and Naira. Why did we even do that? The JP Morgan and the Barclays Bank put Nigerian bonds on their bond index. What that means is that if you're a Wall Street guy and you want to invest in emerging markets, you are automatically going to buy Nigerian bonds. So if you're in JP Morgan or you want to just buy Nigerian bonds, you are in Australia, you want to invest in your portfolio in emerging market bonds, automatically you have bought Nigerian bonds. It was those indices that we that allowed the dollars to just flow seamlessly into Nigeria. There was no capital controls at the central bank. Money was flowing in. Look at the exchange rate, right? It was flowing in and flowing out. Once 2015 occurred, what did President Buhari do and the CBN governor? They instituted capital controls. They said they did it because there was a recession and they wanted to keep dollars in Nigeria. But that was a big mistake. Because once you tell your child today, don't touch that stove, what will your child do? You go and touch the stove. It's stuff like economics. If you tell Nigerians, don't hold dollars again, what will Nigerians do? To go and hold dollars. So we did the wrong mistake. JP Barclays took Nigeria off the bond index. That then meant that we no longer got this free flow of dollars into Nigeria, which means we only had to rely on remittances and crude oil sales. But remittances, instead of us to go and beg the America and say, please bring your dollars in, we're there to give them balls. You can bring dollars in, but you can't take dollars out. You can take cash in, but you cannot transfer out. Remember, we had almost 33 circulars from the Central Bank of Nigeria on Forex that killed confidence in the Nigerian Forex market. So many diaspora guys ignored the market and went to P2P. Then we lost remittances. Crude oil has been killed by the oil theft that is going on. So we lost the FPI when JP Morgan left. We lost the remittances by all the circulars that CBN was doing. Then we lost the crude oil revenues by the oil theft. All the source of forex dried up. That's why in 2022, you have your dollar exchange about 750 and no longer 135 that you had it in 2014. It's economics. The data is there. Go and look at it. That's what happened. It's not magic. All right, I've got the great EK. EK Chike, what's up with you, bro?
Hey, hi, Carlo. Nice to hear your voice. Actually, I've been seeing your tweet, and probably I'll follow you after this. Not probably. I have to follow you after this. Nice discussion, guys. And I just want to say quickly regarding the discovery in the upper Benue Trough. That is what we call basin also. The one is a factor. Okay. So as you have what you can get from the ground is 0.4 %. Against 300 million at most. Sure, now the facilities, simulation, everything is on. It's not it is in oil. So I want to look at it like this. If you have and you store it in tea, now kind of quantity but basically you're able to get all the quantity of tea that was drained by the slice of bread. So that's how it works. Now the oil on the ground is like that slice of bread. So when you squeeze that slice of bread, you get just a percentage of that tea that was drained. So that's how it works in geology, right? So we're going to get maximum 0.4%. Recovery factor is as well. I was involved in the UK for Total. Started like in 2000. That started I forget about 15 to 16. What we're saying in practice today, if we just it's going to take a minimum of 14 to 16 years to get out. So it's not something that you can miss. And then the storage facility, the water plant to drive. So we have just about maybe one well there for you to start producing from that feeding a minimum of 5 months. And you know how that takes. So we come to the well planning, really say against the humongous project. It's not something that was from the day. And then that starts.
I think great. You are
okay. And my coming down to I don't want to start going to all those conspiracy generals what is okay with the refineries and Nigerians in that those refineries cannot be and I'm talking about. Foundational stuff that we make. You can be engineers or those and it will cost. It's not looking. And it's a service that would work as I bet you. So as you spend it, money as it's there. So I don't want to, I really don't and again, obviously, on this promotion and all that, I came along from one of the business what is the impact of that with apart from Nigeria? Maybe all that. He has put up that the why that not even so to say, you know. So and then at the end of the impact of this, I'm not the impact.
Okay.
I'm going to reduce the train of our phones in terms of a lot of people that I guess I don't know, I understand correctly. Because that's the only part I think it might impact, but I don't really see. I get all this kind of position that my conspiracy theory, which I stand to
Let's get. I don't know, coaching, but we're going to wind down pretty soon. I think let's have one more guy, legal mind, to speak. Let us see if I can answer your questions real quick. Yeah? You sound like an engineer or a technical guy. So let's address the second question about the refineries, right? So if you had a machine, you bought this machine in 1970, and it's a brilliant machine from Germany, but you don't service it. You bought it in 1970, you don't service it, sporadic servicing and all that. Would you, if you are given the option to buy a brand new machine or to reform that machine that you use, I mean, what would you choose? The answer is you would buy a brand new one. Let's forget that it's Nigeria. I get what you're saying. Those things have not been serviced. It will cost more. You're an engineer. I'm not an engineer. It costs more to go in and fix something that is bad, like those refineries. The one in Kaduna was built to use imported crude oil. It doesn't even use Nigerian crude oil. It was built to use Venezuelan crude oil. We built a separate pipeline to take crude oil from the south of Nigeria, from Venezuela, to the one in Kaduna. That's what you want to go and refurbish. Why? The one in the two in Port Harcourt was built. One was built by Shell. That's years ago. Before Nigeria was even Nigeria. The other one was then built. The bigger one was built. Then we had the third one. Those things can be fixed. Just like at Jakarta, you can fix at Jakarta today. Then what? At what cost? Nigeria needs a new strategy, maybe more modular, more smaller, so that we can do this because Dangote is now a reality. It's already there. BUA is a reality. It's already there. So we can't push it away. It's there. I don't see why you would build another refinery if Dangote is there. He's gone. He's got that monopoly. He's going to make more than Nigeria would need. He's going to export it. What is going to come? The exact same thing. So that's cheap as steel. To take money now, put those refineries is to take good money to chase the bad refinery. You're an engineer, sir. So you will know better than me, but I think that time is gone. It's gone on those guys. On that oil well, you see the point I made about the oil wells that we're raising the hopes of people for politics. This is more like you want to get the vote in Bauchi and in the north. So you are saying there's crude oil in the north. There's crude, you're an engineer. There's crude oil in every part of the world. The problem is it commercial?
if you had me well,
I know, I hear you. No, great, Ike, I hear
I've raised most of people.
point I'm making.
If that's quantity,
Ike,
1 million bucks.
I hear you completely. One of the things that there's oil in every part of the world, including anywhere in the world there's crude oil. Is it commercial? And that oil, you can report how long will that oil come from where it is being drilled to the market? It's not going to happen in 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So why are you making this thing like we found oil and tomorrow we're about to get 13%? So food for us. We are raising people's hopes. And if we don't deliver on those hopes, people are going to be more angry. There are people, I saw a guy tweet about it, and someone said that the house price in Bauchi has gone up because oil companies are going to start to come and rent houses. Why will the oil company come and rent houses? Why? Why today? Why will they come? Well, let's leave that as the second thing. The last one about Dangote, my issue with Dangote, and I say it again, is costs have got to come down. What is the point? What shall it profit a nation to have the largest cement factory on its soil and pay more for cement than the country does not have the largest cement factory? What is the point of having the largest this, the largest that, the biggest this, the biggest that, and the cost of those things are higher than the imported? Exactly. So what is the point? What is the point? I rather import and get my cost of production lower and create jobs than having no imports, and then the costs are so high that people are losing jobs. What's the point? To have the largest thing if you can't enjoy the cost. I don't get it. This pride, they just mix pride and economics. There is no pride in economics. There is nothing. You know, the economics. 1 + 1 is 2. That's it. Right, let's get Mega Mind and then we'll sort of start to wind down. Jesus, can we be for like an hour, 12 minutes?
Hey, guys, that's fine. Good work you're doing, all right?
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you so much. You have a good one. Take care. Very much. Go to floor, sir.
So, I agree with what you said. So, I'm going to ask you a question. I'll make it very brief. Now, why is it so difficult for the federal government to this oil and refine it instead of doing using the crude method of making this oil available for themselves? One, because I believe bringing in modern finance will help curtail some of the challenges we are having in the oil industry. That is one. Now, as you rightly said, and the other speakers, Dangote's impact and influence is so big. And he said it himself, which is one of the things he said. A couple of places, a couple of my friends who have met said this, that the cost of cement, some of these countries are need way cheaper. But why is it so difficult in Nigeria that he has the largest cement industry in Nigeria, and yet the common man cannot feel it? The cost of cement is so high that sometimes you need to wonder, is cement being imported into this country or produced in Uganda? So I don't know, is it that the policy of the government is not helping to reduce the cost?
No, I think I just think it's just there's a bit of it's not corruption as the word, but it's a bit of creating a monopoly to benefit the guys that pass the laws, right? The modular refineries, that should be it should just be easy to do. You go to those guys in the creek, you say, we're going to give you money, we're going to tell you where you're going to import the 10,000 barrel modular refinery. You guys would own it. We'll give you the marginal fields. You guys would only make kerosene. They don't make PMS, just make kerosene. And they make this kerosene and they sell kerosene. Number one, you've created jobs. Number two, you've made them shareholders in that oil business. So many stones are killed with one, many birds are killed with one stone. But we don't do it because it's competition. Rent seekers don't want competition. That's how you make money from rent seeking. So because if you allow those guys in, then you are killing someone's business that is to import PMS, all that kind of stuff. That's what I think. Why should they not do a motor refinery? It makes no sense. They should be able to do it. But the South guys seem to want to do or give us what's it called, amnesty money, and then we're okay. And I don't know why they should want to think that. That's one. The second part, again, we can overplug this in. I say the same thing. There is no point if you're the largest we are the largest fertilizer company, and the cost of fertilizer in Nigeria is more than import. If the imports are cheaper, they should come in. Otherwise, the government should make the cost of production in Nigeria lower so that we have an advantage. But if you are killing Nigerian SMEs because you don't want to import, it makes no sense. The GDP grows on net exports. Net export, which means the economy has got to import, then it exports, then you grow. You simply can't say we are not going to import, we are only going to export. How? You have to import machines from Germany. You have to also import additives. Even the cement, you might import gypsum, you might import coal. The crude, let's not even go that too far. But I think we have to maybe rejig. There's no point. We are the largest, but costs are more expensive. Who are we eating?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We have to ask this question. Yes. Make it real quick, sir. Real quick.
Yes, okay. So I think I'll just round it up with everything you said, and as regards what the last speaker said. So in all honesty, we try to garnish whatever we want to garnish. Say one of lines. I think the whole Bauchi, stuff, the oil is out there, 1 billion barrel, and looking at the recovery, index where we can get the amount of oil there. I think we can all say this all lies just to suit the narrative.
No, it's not. Let's be clear, right? It's not a lie. I don't think that there's oil in Bauchi. The point I'm against is that they are making it sound like the oil is going to flow tomorrow. This is my point. It's not going to flow even in 5 years. But the narrative that they're giving them is that they're going to build the power plant, they're going to build the refinery, they're going to do this. They're already saying, already saying, no, we want you to do this one, pass this bill that. No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You are raising the hopes of the common man in that state that we are now an oil producing state. When was Anambra an oil producing state? When? Go back and check. When did Anambra start to drill for that crude oil? Go back and check. When did they make an oil producing state? Lagos, when did Lagos start drilling for crude oil? When were they made an oil producing state? Go and look at the budget. Do you see Lagos? When did Lagos appear to receive 13%? What was the gap? So if Lagos, Anambra, and Kogi have been recently been oil producing states, took a minimum of 5 years to go in, why would you then say that if you drink oil today, you're going to get the money tomorrow? You are raising people's hopes unnecessarily for politics. And when you raise people's hopes and they fall, they will come after you. The point I'm making is oil everywhere. Don't raise people's hopes. It's wrong. Mecca, you've got the floor. Hey, Mecca, you've got the floor. How you doing?
Well, I think basically everybody has said what I wanted to say. Right? Talking about this issue, I think the major thing we have, the major problem we actually have, I don't even like to call it, I think it's actually corruption. Because when you look at all the things we've listed, I don't even, it's like our problem is mass. We need to take off the mass. We need to have someone that takes off the mass. Because the actual cement price is not what it's supposed to be. The actual fertilizer price is not what it's supposed to be. We just need to get things what it's actually supposed to be. Our problems are not as big as it's looking. It's almost like we're in a country like we're making things. We have problems. What is bigger? When we look at the pricing of things, I don't know the better price for everybody. Price cost of buying this. For people just do whatever they want when it comes to cost of selling whatever their goods are. Now, I'm saying this about bringing things back to how it's supposed to be. Talking about I think earlier you were talking about security and talking about capital, talking about future. We as now it's supposed to be secure, but it's now less secure. So talking about it's extremely cheap. You can't have a country where you're exporting the country exporting into certainly cheaper than the country that produces. So it's just like we just need to turn around. Like we just need things to actually how they are supposed to be first. You cannot look at the problem else. And these things are quite easy. You don't need to turn things back to be first. Even if it's problematic, but this is not important. We are sitting on the fake things that are not, I don't know, it's just pure corruption. That's what I was.
Well, I mean, but let me talk about this corruption thing, right? Russia is corrupt. They send rockets to space. They have all this stuff. Brazil is corrupt. They make airlines. China is corrupt. Look at China. Speed trains. They produce people from poverty. Why is Nigeria's corruption? Why doesn't our corruption create jobs in Nigeria? Who's not in America? They arrest people for corruption also. Even in Norway, they arrest people for corruption. Why doesn't our corruption create jobs? That's just my problem. No, it's just lazy. Corruption is corrupt. That's the way I'm going to put it. So I don't think corruption is an excuse. There's just so much incompetence masquerading as corruption. Why didn't he do the good? He was just corrupt. No, he was incompetent. If you don't get the right people there, what's going to change? That's what's my take. If you get the right people there, then you start the process of change. But if you just say anyone that has money can become a senator or a councillor in this country, anybody, anyone can just wake up, he has money, he contests, then what more would he pass? What more would he pass? I can't hear you, bro. Let's start the one stop. So, how you doing? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine.
What's up, bro? Very cool.
Without fucking I just want to know one or something. So, recently I was speaking to part of the team there that reviews the evolution of the cement industry in Nigeria. Because of
Oh, sorry.
now, the issue is that 60% of the cost of production of cement goes to power. That's the fact. So I think that's where the real problem is. Because these guys have to work to do agreement with the gas companies and all of that. I know you understand all that. So don't let us damage it too much with the price of the cement and all that. So in those countries that operate and prices are that the cost, the power does not take 60% of cost of production. So they import other things to produce in those countries. Maybe not the things that we have in Nigeria, but those things are not as high. The effect is not as high as we have for power. I'm not defending it. Dangote does his business. But the fact must be put, we have to put the facts out there. That's what I want to contribute. Thank you.
I think that's a fair point. It's a fair point. Power is 25% of the cost of doing business minimum. So it's a fair point that in Dangote,
60%.
oh, 60.
60.
That's in cement. Okay, let's just say that, yes. So if Dangote is spending 60% to generate his own power, maybe Nigerians will have to pay that cost. I get that. I'm not going to argue with it. It's a point we made. I think the only point that we'll come back to is to say is everything that he does, even the ones that don't need power, he still has high prices. I mean, what's the cost of power in the urea side? You know, what happens? He's firing up this with gas. Yeah. So, gotcha.
So even when I see cost, because I used to be like, why is this so expensive? When produce it locally, like 100%.
Okay.
But when you bring a 60% cost for power,
yeah.
Cost of production is power. And we all know how power is. So like I said, I'm not I'm just putting facts out for us to.
No, fair point. Fair point, Ayo. I appreciate you making that point. Fair point. I think no need to. Yeah, fair point. I'll say that point. No point. All right. Let's get Ehi Choya. Oh, sorry if I'm killing you. Speaker Engine. Hey, Speaker Engine, you got the floor. Speaker Engine, you got the floor. Let's get Monsieur Eno. Monsieur Eno, you got the floor, sir. Hey, Monsieur, how you doing?
Thanks for having me.
Good morning.
Anybody, can you hold and let Monsieur, then we'll come back to you, sir, if you don't mind. Just hold on. Monsieur, you got the floor, sir.
Okay, I listened to Engineer Ike and I want to say, and you could tell it's from experience. I actually silent point. Sometimes you explore for oil, like find oil, no doubt. But when you do the economics of it, you see that the cost of even getting that oil out of the ground is not really good enough for you to keep on that development. what you do is to close the shut it off and probably hope for the oil prices to go as high as when it becomes economically feasible to increase. So I think, like you said, it will be disingenuous if the government is just raising people's hopes and making all those conjectures, calling it the plus at the end of it all, the economic feasibility of the oil being found is not. And there's something they actually did in the new petroleum industry, which I think goes to suggest something like that, because they have to, the Niger Delta still has to fund exploration activities and contribute to the. So it's going to be like a waste of resources if you're pumping in money to find oil in that basin when it's not really economic. I really hope it is, because it's going to increase our business and everything. But if it's political, then that's a very big business to the country, Nigeria. But that's my assumption, and I would like to just.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Thanks. Anybody, you got the floor, sir.
Yeah, okay, good morning. I'm going to quickly just touch on two aspects. First of all, let me start from what the last speaker said as regards the commerciality of oil. I'm a process engineer by the grace of God, and I'm in the oil and gas industry for I have a business of oil. You know, I'm assuming now that the oil is already flowing. Already moving oil. So, like what he said, of the oil, the cost of production of the oil and selling it to the market higher than the profit margin in the economics. It doesn't make sense. So it's oil. I for one believe that the oil is political, because in 2019, oil, in 2019, they discovered oil, in 2022 now, every time there's an election, in Bola Basin, there's no oil there. Just blowing I believe that what to be today, because we are going to take that from that is that. Let me give you that. Someone said cost of is about that's no doubt. Young government gas is being piped from to Obajala. Gas is being piped from the from the government.
I wish can you come back? The guy that spoke about that, come back, I'll add you real quick. I know about this. If you can come back,
Because the price of gas, the same way to him in this refinery. I'll bet you that I'm just speaking good English now. Refinery. When production starts, production, by saying to say, not in dollar, driving of that supply chain that arise. Not in the it's a capital. In Nigeria, trying to go to his life to for a larger time ago, that the settled that you have a very large to Dangote.
I was in Ayo to respond. Ayo, anything that gas to power that factory of
possible. Whether 60% cost of energy still has to do with that after the fact that it has been subsidized or before. I don't know.
Okay.
So I'm not taking grief for him.
Okay.
So that is that on the refinery part. So but this refinery, like you said, you did a review on the Jakarta gas plant. You understand? I did a project on that during my undergraduate days and during my master's degree. For the professor of chemical part of the was the young lady that they are part of the team. Refinery because they made it from carry out the like water worry in that high to make like this
So question for you, right? Question for you as an expert. Yeah?
You same suggestion you are giving, please to the refineries. Understand? Because it will not tomorrow. So it is cheaper for us. And the people are not buying up. They are buying it to smaller refineries. I'm not saying it now. Buying it. In a Gulf.
I think they're buying it to get access.
More modular refinery that we get. Let me tell you not too bad. Refineries. They don't. So I started when you give that expose. The same solution. Because 70 the cost of it $10 is small.
I got you. Anyway. Speak. I hear you.
With cash for a fact. That's why.
All right. I hear you. So sorry, I think you came out to just round up so we can get to happen here. But I think my main points. We're winding down. It's almost an hour or two. Let's get Mayor in. Mayor of Pitakwa. Let's get you in. Put a Kenneth. Mayor, you've got the floor. Go ahead. Mayor going once. Mayor going twice. Let's get Mr. Olusegun on YouTube. How are you, sir?
Right. Good morning, Carl.
Hey, what's up, bro?
Good morning, everyone.
Hey, go ahead. How you doing?
Yeah, big one. I just want to add something different. I know it's speaking about wine a lot, so I don't know if there's time to I wanted to ask this new dial redesign stuff that the CBN is doing, deposit coming in and all that. I just want to know, like, maybe from first to next year, what do you see in terms of the new policies that government will try to do after the out of those maybe like restrictions. But what are you observing? What are we doing? I know we followed it for next year. What are you doing that you think CBN will bring up? Then another thing I want to like to touch on is what happened to the great sector of security with all this climate change? I know because we have a real challenge with at the same time. You know, there are war in Ukraine, with and all the flooding, climate change. But since we've paying attention to our food security, I'm not even sure. So just what's going to happen within the next 4 years? What do you protect?
Yeah, I mean, great question, Shig. I mean, let's take the first one first. So, why is the central bank changing the color of the currency? They gave us two reasons. Number one is monetary. They say because they have currency out of circulation, out of the banking sector, lots of currency out of the banking sector. When they do monetary policy, for instance, when they raise the rates of the interest rates in the economy to fight inflation, it doesn't really go round the economy because there's a lot of cash already out there. So one is monetary. The other one they talked about is counterfeiting. There's a lot of counterfeit naira out there. There's a long gap between when they did the last change of the naira, it was in the 1980s and today. So they want to fresh the naira up to keep counterfeiting and all that kind of stuff. Both reasons are very, very good. So we support the central bank's action to change the color. Whether it's a color or whatever, they have to just do a change. And I think that I support what they're doing. I think what they want to do is that if you know in America when they change the dollars that are old are still legal tender. But in Nigeria, they've said that when they change the naira, the old naira notes will not be legal tender, which means that Nigeria is saying that every currency you have in circulation today must go to the Nigerian bank to be changed. That just tells you what they want to do. Number one, they're going to establish how much currency there really is in Nigeria. That's number one. They can then know where that currency is because they have to take it to the bank in Kano or Abia or Lagos. They will know exactly where the currency is. Then they can then do what they want to do, like CBN governor said. They want to reduce the amount of paper currency out there. Why? Maybe they say it will help them fight inflation. I disagree, but it would help to reduce the cash policy system in Nigeria. If you can do that properly, it boosts POS, it boosts financial inclusion, it boosts things like e-naira, things like more, all that gets boosted. So the economy becomes more productive. You can also fight counterfeiting, fight corruption as well with that. So overall, it's a good policy. Yeah, I'm not a fan of MFLA, but it's a very, very good policy what they've done. And I think the effect will be positive, more positive effects than negative effects. I don't think it's going to affect inflation, but I think it's something they must do to cross. So I don't know if that's the question. All right. Yeah, cool. All right, cool. Let's get Cooley. Cooley, you got the floor?
Good morning.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm concerned about the good Dangote in Nigeria because that man is nothing but a rubber barrel in the mold of all those Rockefeller that they had to be with them in America. Look, the acquisition, what became Dangote cement, he took various cements that you can see recently, they had problems with Kobe. Everywhere he was, there's problems. Now, the George Akume was his success was that the sale of that thing was not enough. As at that time, like 20, it was owing 683 million in 2010 in taxes. I also paid to the state. Now, somebody is saying, he has high cost electricity. Is it not Nigeria that supplies electricity? How does people get their cement cheaper? And they have to import everything. The limestone, every goddamn thing that goes into that, like is there free of charge. It's actually quite fair. And free charge, you don't have to do any shit. It's right there. So I don't understand why it gets good press. I guess he bribes all these people.
So you see the thing with Dangote, right? Dangote is a funny. It's a difficult topic to talk about Dangote. Dangote again. Remember, I made this point. Dangote was an importer, like many other importers. But I think somewhere along the line, he sort of caught the ball and said, I can actually make more money if I align myself to be a producer and be the guy in Nigeria. And many other importers haven't really caught that ball. That if you make money in Nigeria, the politicians like you because then you are creating good press for them. So he was smart to transit from being an importer to being a local guy. And let me give you a story. Igbos always bring up, and I'm making the point, I mean, I use that word Igbos, always bring up this one about Mr. Ibeto. Ibeto has cement. Ibeto and Dangote were both importing cement. Dangote, Obasanjo gave every cement guy, he said, by this date, no more cement importation. Go out and build your factory. The big boys, the Wakos, didn't take him seriously. Dangote took him seriously, borrowed a lot of money and invested in cement. Ibeto took the other route. Ibeto went and somehow got a letter that allowed him legally to import cement into Nigeria. Legally into Nigeria. But look at the mindset. Dangote was investing in factories to make cement in Nigeria. Ibeto had Nkalago cement in it. He didn't do anything about it. The letter that legally allowed him to import cement. Down the line, was importing, but of course, governments changed. Pharaoh came, didn't recognize the letter, and into a lot of trouble. So I made this story because Dangote is, like you said, he's a robber baron. But the robber barons built America. Look at Carnegie, how did the US team flooded the city, killed people. But today, the Carnegie Library is up there. Look at Rockefeller. Look at what Rockefeller did in America. How he controlled the price of kerosene. Kerosene is a brand name. If you know the history of kerosene and all that, he controlled it. He had to be broken up. The antitrust laws were specifically written for him to break him up into 8 separate companies just to get it. And he controlled the railways, he controlled the oil prices, he controlled the American economy. There's no one that's not as rich as Rockefeller until today. But they have to break him up. And that's what Dangote is. So those guys are useful. If you don't have a quote-unquote robber baron, you still go for your country. Look at Samsung, Hyundai. The military dictator came in and told them, you guys, allow you guys stay, but you've got to develop South Korea. If you bring your stolen money back to South Korea, I won't prosecute you. That was the deal he made with them, the General Park. And they agreed. Same in America, same in the UK, guys. All these UK companies, Nestle, but not Nestle, Lever Brothers, all these guys, that's how they grew their economy. Because the world is not a nice place. You know, you have to break a lot of eggs to actually get that big home like that. Sometimes these companies that we see today that are like really, really good, they have very, very bad, murky roots. So I am okay with a monopolist. I am okay with a robber baron if the net effect to the Nigerian consumer is lower prices and more productivity. I think that would get flack, and rightly so, because he doesn't deliver that. Mr. Rockefeller controlled the railways, he controlled petroleum, right? But he changed America. He made the cost of doing this America cheaper because he promoted petroleum. Before he did petroleum, it was more expensive to do business in America. But he's not the president, right? And today, even today, his companies are still existing. Chevron, Texaco, they're all Standard Oil. So I think that's the thing with Dangote. He's got to go from just being perceived as this baron guy to more of a guy that really, with him, you get the lowest prices and the best, That's where I think Dangote is getting it, quote unquote. I don't know if you use the word wrong, but that's where I think he gets the flag from. That people don't reach out and touch and say that Dangote is working for me as a Nigerian. Cool, I don't know if you agree. That's my take on this.
No need to go back on that. You've given him the pass. I'll give it. But let the record show that at every step of the way, he had a lot of criminality.
He's not a
lot of criminality.
Kule, I'm surprised he took the pass. He's written on him specifically, and I've been very clear on him. I talked about the urea company, and I said there is no point having a urea factory that is the largest in the world, Nigeria, Africa. It's high. I agree with what you're saying. The point I'm making is that the only way to kill Dangote, quote, is to have other Dangotes. Where are the other billionaires in Nigeria? Why are they stepping up? Only Boa seems to be stepping up. Right? That's the point I'm making. Others
because the guy is hard.
But this guy was. Kole, from your voice, I know your age. I bait from your voice. You know where did Dangote start from now? I remember Dangote. I remember this guy importing sugar and rice like any other importer. They were Nigerians richer than him, more connected than him, than Dangote. That become businessman in Africa. It was cement that made him. Cement made him businessman in Africa. Cement. Before cement, where was it?
Good morning.
No, hold on, nobody, just hold on. Yeah? Yeah?
Let's not go. Don't get me started. That's okay.
The point is that we cannot just say he is. In America, US still came. There was Bethlehem still. You have Standard Oil, but Mr. Rockefeller got a lot of competition from more America. That's the point I'm making. It wasn't a free ride for him. In Nigeria, it's a free ride for Dangote. He's got the refinery now. It's all over.
Why does he have a section of the port?
Because he's.
You go to a papa and import.
And who has challenged him? Is it you and that will challenge him? Who has challenged him? Exactly. So if no one challenges him, then he's now got a refinery. He's going to be the richest. But we go try now. Remember the point I'm making. Dangote was not the richest Nigerian. How many years ago? It was cement. So when was Dangote Cement founded? They were richer. There was a Nigerian that used to supply hams or yams to Ecomog. He was richer than Dangote. The only guy I'm talking about. He used to supply yams to Ecomog. Ecomog, he was richer than Dangote. Where is it today? Where is it today? So, where are they today? Where are they today? I hear you, Kule. No, the point I'm making is that where are the other billionaires? That's what I'm saying. I'm not a billionaire yet. I'm not saying where are the other guys. Tomorrow now, Dangote is going to go and buy fintech. Then it's all over. This refinery thing is going to make it the richest, not just African, perhaps the richest non-American by a mile. Who did it? Who is there? Why? So we should vote the guys that did it now. Vote them out. That's how you fight. You fight with your power of proxy. You vote the country out. Then you put new people in that will bring a level playing field. That's all you do. That's the point I'm making. Then you have to fight. Look, I hear you, bro. Let's get Olusegun, your second question. I'm so sorry, I forgot the second question about the food crisis, right? Big problem. Food is 50% of the consumer price index in Nigeria. That means if food prices go down, inflation goes down. For the life of me, I don't know why we don't connect the dots and change it. Instead of importing PMS, we should have imported food. If you import food for a limited period, say 3 months, you are able to bring down the cost of inflation in Nigeria and allow the country to calm down, drop inflation before you then go ahead and do other stuff. That's why I think we're getting it wrong. There is no food security. Even before the floods, the bandits are talking about the planting field in Nigeria. So food is too expensive in Nigeria. We've got to really go and look at the middle belt where we make the food. That's national security. Every day I see we bought aeroplane, we bought helicopter, attack this, attack that. Still, the bandits are there. So I don't know what's going to happen. If we don't take back those food areas in Nigeria, then when we take them back post-production, we've got to do rural industrialization like what China did. I'm very, very happy the ADB. Things are fine. I don't know the amount, I forgot the amount, but a lot of dollars that the ADB is invested in Nigeria to build 8 rural agro-processing centers. That means that they're going to go to rural areas and build these processing centers in there so that we can, when we get cassava, we can make it into cassava chips, ethanol, cocoa, ready to cocoa paste, and all that, and export. That's what Nigeria should be doing. Rural, not to go and build a factory in Lagos. Lagos doesn't have a farm. We should build a rural industrialized process in rural areas, create jobs there, lower cost of production there, then bring the exports out to Lagos, to Port Harcourt, export the excess and make dollars. That's what we should do. It's not rocket science, but this is Nigeria. Hi, we've got Irene. Is that Irene?
Yes.
Hey, how you doing? You've got the floor. Go ahead.
Very okay.
What's up? Yeah.
Good day to everyone, and an amazing conversation so far. I'd like to address two things. One, when we say that Dangote is doing so well in terms of, FX from the CBN. I was in talks with one a while ago, and he was just telling me how you have about 100 different manufacturers and they are different categories, and Dangote is coming first. I know that you have a window for bidding, right? And then you're asking yourself, maybe other companies, for example, may be asking for $1 million, and then they are getting $100,000. Then Dangote is actually allocated something way higher than that. You're already giving it a preference in market, so yeah. So the way I was speaking with another manufacturer, a billionaire manufacturer, who told me that one of his plants last month made a loss of $580 million. And I asked him, why are you still operating in this market? He said to me, it's excess he gets from the black market, from parallel markets. So when you already have from that point an inequality, so you're asking where are the billionaires? The billionaires are struggling and they're not giving the level playing field as a Dangote in the marketplace. I start to be quoted and I have evidence. It's just that a lot of these people, when I speak to them, they tell me, oh, please don't quote me anywhere. And so you will not hear me saying any, and mentioning any other manufacturer. Now, Innocent who has given me that opportunity to speak. If you followed the news last week, he supplied Leon cars worth $4.7 million. And he said to me, because I was asking him, where are you getting the effective to do your business? He said, the solution to this problem in the economy is exports. Right? And he said, for the fact that he was supposed to deliver all of those cars for the Sierra Leonean army in just one bag, he did not have the financial capacity to do that. And so he had to break it into 3 trenches. But I don't know, but I'm wondering now, if it was a Dangote that had that kind of request, I know the pool of support he had for the refinery that he's building. When I'm listening to what he's saying to me that now he has to start doing it based on his own financial capacity, he has even reached out to Accrediting Bank, and even though they had signed up and said they were going to give him this money, in naira, not in dollars, that we're speaking of. It took them 6 months and he was at the point of losing this contract. Now we're saying that we want they're looking for ways in which what people has to bring up what they need as a living environment and a level playing field for everybody. And I stand to be corrected, but they do not have that level playing field.
I hear you. I hear you. I read
now you also talked about how because I had conversations with lots of farmers this year, and they told me the impact. I know how terrible it was for some of us when they banned the importation of rice. But those farmers were very excited for the first time since we started farming in the country, they could see proceed for what they were farming. So fine, you may say, oh, let us have importing food, but we also need to ensure that the competition starts at where those in the rural communities, their produce are still cheaper than what we find in the market by the time these things are imported.
I hear you. Good comments. Well said. I hear you. Just to be very, very clear, right? So I'm just hosting. I'm doing devil's advocate. When I talk about that, remember that I'm doing ratings. I'm making the conversation go up. I'm not speaking for Mr. Dangote or whatever, right? The point is this, right? Dangote a few years ago, I'm old enough to know when Dangote was just an importer. The point I'm making is that everyone has got to step up. Everyone has to step up, right? There are billionaires. I hear you. Dangote gets preferential treatment. There's an article where he got dollars when to build refineries when others didn't get dollars. This is why I asked him for the price to come lower from Dangote, because he gets preferential treatment. He has his own ports section. He gets dollars from the central bank. The central bank governor has said, we'll fund you dollars. They don't fund the refineries dollars. So I get that point. And I'm just making, again, everyone has got to step up. You can't allow this guy just to run and buy the whole Nigeria. It's not possible. And that's what we're doing. This refinery thing is all over. That means he's going to get his dollars now without the banks. That's what's going to happen. So if you don't like that voting now, they're going to hate him in the future. So that's all I'm saying. You can't sit down like this guy, just one guy in 2022 win. That's all I'm saying. Right? So I get your point. And for the food imports, the reality is this. And do logistics from Bay to Lagos. So we have to have a plan. I don't want just to open the borders and say import. No, that's a waste of money. We have to have a short, medium, long-term plan. Long-term is the post-processing where we see we have process of our output and our harvest. Medium-term is the mixture of the imports and the long-term plan. But the short-term today, inflation in Nigeria is 21%. 21%. The only way you drop that 12% is to import food. If only Lagos gets that food, you drop inflation in Lagos. Lagos is the highest inflation zone. They have the banks in Lagos. If you drop inflation in Lagos, you have done something. Hence, you must import. You can't, there's no way you can produce enough food in 12 months to feed Nigeria. It's not possible. You can't get 9 women pregnant and have a child in 1 month. It doesn't work that way. So we have to import food immediately. Short term, 3 to 6 months, get the prices down and simultaneously implement the medium and long-term plan to increase post-production of agricultural produce. So we get those products from Benue, the yams to Lagos. We get the cattle from Yobe to Lagos. When I mean Lagos, I mean the cities. We have to do it that way. Every nation imports food. Even America imports food. They import avocados from Mexico. Americans have
that. So we all know about the US China trade. So if there was competition to the US,
gotcha. So short term, short term to fight inflation, food is 6-7% of the average. It's 50% of inflation. You have to fight it by emergency. 90 days, you can import any food you want to Nigeria. Customs will not charge any fees. 90 days. Get the food in, let the prices fall, then you shut down the borders and you say, okay, we're going to do medium and long term. That's what I'm saying. And the other thing you're doing, all this closed border, let's back to the farm. It's not back to the farm, we're celebrating oil in Bauchi. That's my point I'm making. We've left, Bauchi now is now in the oil state. That's what we're celebrating now. The state that has one of the best planned economies. When people think of Bauchi today, think of Bauchi as a state. Before there was Nigeria, Bauchi Plateau, all those areas was called Bauchi State. That place was called Bauchi. That place was planned by the British Sir Ahmadu Bello. He sat down and planned an economy that could survive without oil. That's Bauchi. They said, what did Bauchi have? Land, cattle, clay, all that. They set up industries in Bauchi. That place is like a hidden gem for industrialization and e-commerce, and commerce. But all that is wasted away because now they found 1 billion. I've talked about Bauchi a lot. People that know Bauchi will tell you what I'm telling you. Go there. What they have in that state, in that place there, designed by the British, the most well-detailed economic plan that was written for a region to move them from where they were in 1950s to where they should be in the 1980s. It's abandoned. They had Northern Nigeria Development Company before you even had the South, before you even had Nigeria and all that. These guys were ready to go. And they were like, hey, run with this plan and grow the economy. All that was thrown away because someone found crude oil. They are making the exact same mistake today to chase this 1 billion barrels and ignore 1 million hectares that they could use to grow cassava and export cassava to China and get it. But different story. Guys, hey, I gotta go, man. I gotta go. First speaker, first light, let's play. I thank you so much. I appreciate your call. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Carlo. Nice analysis. Quick one, please. Let's understand something. We kept on blaming Dangote. Just our system had to happen. For me, I like what Carlo said. Where are the billionaires? Where are the people who started the competition? The guy you're talking about, I got to Ecuador, is Arishikola, the late Arishikola in Oyo State. He used to export Ghanaian rice and even up to Somalia, I remember. Right? But the thing is this, we kept on speaking about the federal government. The biggest problem for Nigeria to increase production should be the state. For instance, a state in Nigeria has spent over 3.2 billion in building just bridges. And I said to myself, I'm not saying you should construct bridges. If there's no need to be a bridge in a particular place, perhaps expand the road and use 1.5 trillion to build factories for rice, for maize, for things to be produced in each of the local government. Just like we talk about Bauchi here. I have a sister who had about 200 hectares of land in Bauchi. I also have another who had about 800 hectares of land in maize. And I think if the entire state of Nigeria starts deliberate action by putting funds to infrastructure, no doubt, that we must have at least one factory each of the local government. It reduces the population of people coming into the city centers. Because the problem here is that everybody wants to leave their villages, go to Port Harcourt, or these major cities. If there is something that is giving them peace, just like you said, or is it Irene that mentioned it should make them productive in the local area, in the rural area. Second thing is you talk about food importation. I agree with you. That's why I was policy in that Abacha. Major focus on is the fact that food must be what people can afford food. There is food. They can take it. Every other thing. In fact, can also be taken care of. And on this forest, I think that children facts are the focus I've ever seen in the world. We're not cares about that. The parents,
I don't agree with you.
And government have not seen any deliberate things. I'll give you an example. A certain bank, you transfer money within yourself, they charge you. Somebody send money to you, they charge you. They charge you for ATM. In this same Nigerian bank, when you use their ATM, they don't charge you. When you transfer money in their bank to another bank, they don't charge you. They charge you a certain amount, about 300-500 at the end of the month. This entire time, it's not in this same Nigeria. But yet, we can't go primary of the government. We can't go primary of the bank and we keep us trying. There are people who kill business. See, please, because you do. But I tell you for free, even the Americans of this world are just like the British of this world. We remember very well when they see some billionaires in America, they pay so much money that in one government tax them as much as 100%. So Dangote had a lot. He exploited it. If you don't see it in Nigeria, who want to see Dangote in South Africa market that is already there? Go to Ethiopia, go to Zambia, go to these countries. So if you said it's in Nigeria, then what happened in those countries? Let's just look at it. It's a business.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, I yield.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I hear you. Guys, that's what makes it Dangote. Man, it's just what's up? What's happening?
Yo, my brother,
I'm very well. Morning to you.
You know, I just wanted to say something it's very, very quick for me. You know what my challenge is and what I will be about all of this is when in a country where everything starts
a lot of what I've heard, people are not talking about what they should talk about. My view should be looking at budgets between the capital expenditure and the recurrent expenditure. If you dissect our budget over the last 40, 50 years, you will see it as always linked towards recurrent expenditure. Please, where are we going to get money to build it? Right and cost. So even, I heard you saying we need to import food temporarily. Yeah, it makes sense. And then, simultaneously start to develop things, including the voucher you mentioned. Where's the money? The bulk of the money is being siphoned by these leaves. That is the point. I'm always of the opinion, I think you also mentioned it. Until we cut out all of these charlatans, as I like to call them, until we put them out, we're just going to go around. That is exactly what keep on happening in Nigeria. We come here every day, talk about the same things and nothing will happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let me see. Oh my God, Udo, yeah, Udo, what's up? Udo,
When you start bringing back those same charlatans, they're still the same people in all the parties, in all of them, they are all the same. Honestly speaking, we Nigeria just need to take deliberate action from personal actions that we take from our own to start making those changes. You don't say you should make changes. You yourself, you live in that same scenario and pay that same thing when you say something else. For instance, the food can you imagine talking to fellow common Nigeria in the morning you were charging 500 naira.
I hear you, bro. Okay.
Like evening you were charging 6,000 naira. Common man 6,000.
Go let us speak, right? Go let us speak. Yeah, you could have done more. Go ahead.
Hi, good morning. What we've said before, I think you missed out it. We talk about the other billionaires and what and not invest in them. I think fair to them, they're taking the easy way out. It's a different thing from when you have money, and it's different when you're investing and working and making money. The country is not conducive by anybody to do business. Even though this network has gone up over the past how many years because it's money in naira and it makes money in naira. So if any billionaire decides to say, I have $2 billion before and gives me a return of maybe 1 million every year and I flex and live, I think I understand it. I think the bigger issue is how can we make the country conducive so that people will want to invest and make more money.
I agree.
How to ensure that we can protect their businesses and their lives and properties. I think that's where that's what if we do that and make sure that it's level playing field and we ease the cost of business, and I think it's just logical to want to make more money, right? But they may not want to run it themselves, but they will use the existing channels of alliance and use that cost to run it. So I think that there's also the difficulty and the headache that comes with running the business. I mean, like, Dangote probably doesn't sleep early and wakes up really early, right? I think some people that I'm done with that life. I just want to respect and enjoy. So there's also that barrier that we need to understand. That's why some people would rather just take a small return than have the headache of running a business. Now, I agree with you, Carlo, when you talk about reducing food inflation. Yeah, there is no way it can continue like this. If we need to import it, let's do it. My only fear is Nigeria has this barrier to import. Anything that imports that we are not giant of Africa, we should be producing and feeding ourselves. But we can't continue like this. Demand does not meet supply. The demand is way higher than the supply. So what do we then do? We need to import to bring back up, at least for the next 1 to 2 years, where we tend to focus on how do we then produce, how do we ensure that there's a lot of security so that people can come up to the farm, how do we ensure that we have power, that processing plants can function and optimize and drive costs down. I think the problem is multifaceted. There's no one solution, but we need a plan and we need to start with reducing the cost of food. It's too expensive. If I earn 15,000 naira, I earn 15,000 naira, and I'm using everything to feed myself, what then do I have for healthcare? What do I have for housing? If you think about sustainability, development. Those are the three key prongs, right? Healthcare, education, and housing. This current food, okay, yes, food. If I can't afford anything else and all and everything going towards food, then I'm poor. I'm basically trapped in poverty. And that is why when I think that our leaders, I call them small-minded men. They have small minds. They can't see beyond diagnosis. A governor who's doing well, building flyovers, doing roads, unnecessary roads, I think he's just wasting time. He can't see beyond the future. He can't think of 10 years.
All right,
when
bro.
he should be looking at those schools and
I hear you,
houses
bro.
and hospitals for the poor.
All right, guys, we've been here. Yeah, we've been here for a while, man. So I do appreciate the comment, but we've got to wind this sucker down, right? All great comments from everyone. I've got the four. Let's just do William, Doja, Sinok, and then we'll just guys. Great comments. Williams, you've got the floor. Williams.
Yeah, Mr. Gallo, good morning, man.
Hey, what's happening?
Great stuff, man. I'm saying, for those of us who have money things, I mean, narrow, but advise us to do now.
Yeah, I don't give advice, bro. I don't give advice. Sorry about that. But I will say this: Naira is paying you 15% risk right now. It's higher than dollar, but Naira inflation is 21%. Dollar inflation is 8 and falling. Naira is 21 and not falling. So it depends on what your objective is: short term, long term. Can you take risk? Can you take risk? That's what it is. So you invest according to your objective, right? That's what you want to do.
All right, brother. Thank you, man. Appreciate it, man.
You are very welcome.
I really appreciate your speech, man. I enjoy your talking to me every day, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you saying that.
I'm doing a great job. Somebody out there is listening.
God is listening. Thank you so much. All right, cool. Roger?
Thank you very much.
Hey, what's up, bro? Hey.
So, without trying to, I just want to know before I start how many minutes do I have?
A minute.
What do you think?
About a minute or two, yeah.
Okay, I'll go with 2 minutes. So first of all, I'll just quickly explain. Usually, other countries, we have productive economies. We get rewarded for being productive. In Nigeria, what we have is a mediocre economy. We get rewarded for being mediocre. It's a rent-seeking economy around. People make money from rent-seeking without having to invest in capital. And I think this is one of the countries that we make fruits. The fact that rent-seeking is constantly being rewarded is just having somebody they can pick up to period in a week. That's probably why we find ourselves where we are today. So, moving on from that, having established that, an education which I was build, everything else I want to say. I think when we look at Nigeria as of today, a lot of people always seem to listen to the people of the government. They expect that the government is supposed to invest and all of that. I can understand in some scenarios the government should invest in the minority state if they're trying to attract investors. But a lot of the government really is to participate in business, establish factories, do that. The goal is to run a conducive environment, provide everything that is necessary to make production flourish. And what do I mean by that? We mentioned building life, but it's not about building unnecessary lives. Connect the farms to the cities. We are good roads. Connect the cities to the ports. We are good roads. Invest in the ports where people can export. Invest in things that can ensure that people are able to maximize whatever it is we have. Then find out and maximize the areas of strength. Having said that, look at that, assuming we are positive, we import so much. I think the importation is not really an issue. And the major issue is that if we make our production more, even our fish example, the major issue is power. We should be able to mix. A lot of manufacturers quit manufacturing because the cost of energy is way too high. Diesel is more sustainable. Even those who use diesel in their houses today are even sustainable. But if you look at IPP, that's where they're able to do that. But if the cost of gas is selling at international price, why don't you give local gas? Why don't you give those that are buying local gas using power generation packaging discretionary rates instead you focus on CDN discretionary rates, which doesn't make any sense. Then last but not least, the issue everybody has been trying to
this is not a secret, although because a lot of Nigerians they don't realize it. NNPC was converted to. You know what that means? That means that there is a massive threat, the biggest of which we have never seen, currently ongoing in the country as of today in that NNPC. The fact that NNPC was converted to limited liability company means NNPC stopped being a government agency. What that implies is that NNPC is not a company that is subject to corporate tax. The Companies and Allied Matters Act. That means that NNPC will give all our companies to a company or some any other company, and that company will take those revenues and they are free to do it as it please. All we are to get at the end of the day is just when they finish auditing their books, if they declare profit or not. So the fact that they are not looking to this again is saying this shows that a lot of people there are not truthful, or a lot of them have lost their brains or they have lost their values. Because whenever I think NNPC company in the first place, it is going to be a company. The constitution states that all the revenue from oil must be paid into the consolidated federal federation accounts. But now it's being paid into NNPC accounts, which means NNPC has the right to collect the federal government and become a company. That means that money must be collected by some other entity. It is collected by the federal government direct and it should be paid into the federation account directly. This is supposed to be like any other company to be capitalized, to give them a few oil fields. They should want to manage themselves the way it would be. Or they give them capitalization of $1 trillion. We're not to give them an entire company's revenue to Russian roulette. That's why they have banned downstream assets. That's why they have money to acquire assets. That's another company. Nobody knows how much they are acquiring. That's why they have enough money to acquire 20% of that company. The government is supposed to benefit it, use it, buy it, toxic assets at inflated rates, and like in their pockets. It's a very silly and unlocking that I thought are supposed to be prosecuted and jailed for economic countries, economic sabotage. So, there's I want to family happens to me. So, the question is, I definitely like to talk to you. And I think before, I'm inactive, I belong to a political party, and I don't belong to any of the major political parties. I follow the ideals of what I believe in and economic emancipation of Nigeria and those things I believe in. I put my money where my mouth is. Thank you very much.
Super. Thank you so much. Let's get fast. Thanks so much. I appreciate your comments. A lot of things about the NNPC. It doesn't matter who the ownership is. All that matters is the NNPC should create jobs, pay taxes, and attract investment to Nigeria. The cost of gas should be cheaper. If they do that, no one cares about the ownership. But NNPC is a crime scene. Let's just Bass, New York. What's the name? Bass, New York. What's up, man? You got a problem?
Hey, Carlo, first, it's like I just added some great cells this morning to my brain this morning, listening to all the wonderful submission, It is a way, this space is a way from what you normally get from the politically induced spaces, So, I'm really some of the things that. But the issue that brought my attention to this is the question that the condition of. Come on, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to be the balance the conversation. The truth is, there's a reality. The Nigerian North and South issue is not there. The Nigerian people say that this is flexible now, and they need to create a playing field for all the other people. Once we have that, like what Harun Mountain was trying to do, which was trying to sanitize the system. We saw how she was doing. She was literally doing rumor had it that connection to it's so we cannot have a system that's jacked the other people to place it. So right now for their money to come back. So this is the thing. Yes, I understand Carnegie and all the other big guys in America how they did it. If that's what they want to do, it was fine. But the place is to be fair to all so that investment can stay here. All these guys earning billions on their needs, supplement, they can bring that money out and invest here. That's it. Then for the importation of food, my issue with that is I want importation to happen at an interim state so that prices can drop. But you know, the whole Nigeria, once they start something like that, something that's supposed to be interim, do you know that subsidy, importation of fuel was supposed to be an interim measure when it first started? Now it's become the only measure. You know, importation of fuel was supposed to be an interim measure while the refineries are being fixed. But today we have to talk. You know, my fear with importation of fuel is it's an interim measure. It's going to be a fantastic idea, you know, to drop down prices of fuel. But it might become the only measure. At the end of the day, we're not having food problem just because we're having food problem. So I think we need to be very careful and the right people need to drive it. Carlo, as always, thank you so much for doing.
Yeah. Thanks. So I mean, the conversation went to Dangote real quick. I mean, however you guys cut it, right? Dangote has attracted investment to Nigeria. He's done that through means that maybe other normal folks would not have done. He's a rubber barrel. Someone used that word. Rubber barrel just means like he gets privileges and he has used those privileges to advantage. But it is what it is. It is what it is. That's what the guy is, right? And the way you beat rubber barrels is the government has got to break them up, but you've got to have new guys coming up to take on that mantle, take on that market share he's trying to accomplish. I mean, we have to do, we complain a lot. That's the point I'm making. He rose from he was to where he is because he understands the government and was able to go in and get the government to support him and to grow. Others did it and are not where he is today. He's a very, very smart guy. He understands the government, he's got the government to invest in. Others didn't. So defend or not defend, it is what it is. That's just what I'm going to say about that. Hey guys, we've been here, believe it or not, we have about 2 hours and nearly 30 minutes. So hey, it's time to go take some fluids and let you guys go to enjoy your Monday. We normally just do this for about 15 minutes, talk about the economy, have a few comments, but you guys had a lot to get off your chest. I get it. You guys see this talk, get stuff off your chest. I get it, guys. So I'll bid you guys well. I hope you guys have a great week ahead. Do not despair. You have in February an event that you control. There are many things in Nigeria you do not control. You don't control the economy, you don't control the security, you don't even control the power supply that comes to your house, even if you pay. But in February, you have the opportunity to do something that you control. Whoever you proxy in as CEO of this country affects many things you are concerned about. You don't like insecurity in Nigeria, do something about it. Go vote. You don't like inflation, do something about it. Go vote. You want your kids to get jobs, you want the schools to work, you want the hospitals to function, do something about it. Go vote. Stop complaining. Go and vote. That's really what it is. Prince.
Yes, Mr. Kalu. Yeah, good morning, sir. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I've been wanting to speak. Please, yes, I just need 1 minute. And my question, am I being heard?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. So the question is, just as you analyze the inflation and the likes and the cost of food, and the cost of food basically affected by the availability, the cost of production of stuff. But I have lived in the north and I've lived in the south, I've lived in the west. So things that I noticed is about our preference for denomination of currency and how it affects the price of commodities, goods and services. So staying back in the north, I can easily negotiate for big items with smaller denomination for 5 naira, 10 naira, 20 naira. But coming down to the west, the denomination changed. It's either you're making use of 50 naira, or you're making use of 100 naira, or you're making use of 200 naira, or you're making use of 500 naira, or 1,000. And in the next few months, in fact, 50 naira is being wiped out. And this is impacting on the costs. It is wiping up the smaller denomination and impacting on the cost.
items. And in that effect, multiplying effect, it's increasing the inflation rate. So looking at all this, where does CBN comes in? Where does CBN comes in regulating the price of goods and services? Okay, now that we have redesigned the naira, encourage patronage of usage of the lower denomination.
It doesn't. Okay, I hear you. Just real quick, right? Denomination of the currency doesn't really matter, right? In America, you use coins. You don't use coins in Nigeria. Why? Because of inflation. Inflates the way. You can't reintroduce coins and force the price to come down because they are coins. Food is cheaper in the north because there's no supply of food in the north. In Lagos, there are no farmlands. You have a lot of built-up areas, so food is harder.
But I'm not just specific about food. Even in transportation, in the north, and I can actually, okay, let's say I can actually get a vehicle for 50 naira, and if the person says he doesn't want 50 naira, I can say, okay, I'll pay you 20 naira, 70 naira.
Yeah, because the cost of living is lower in the north. If you go to America, the cost of living in New York is higher than the cost of living in Tennessee. So you earn more in New York, you earn less in the north, less in Tennessee. So it goes with territory. If you go to the north, how much do you think you pay for rent for a house? Less than $1 million. In Lagos, $1 million a month, right? So it goes with territory. High cost, high income potential. That's what's going on.
Okay, I still have more questions, but I'll leave it for another day. Thank you so much.
All right, bro. All right, thanks so much. All right, guys, on that note, I'll let you guys go. Like I said, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you guys. Go out and complain about what you can change. Don't complain about what you can. February comment. Go vote. February comment. Stop complaining. Go vote. All right, guys, take care. Love you all. Thank you for being a part of my morning. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.